The man bathed his paralyzed wife every day. But one day, just as he had filled the bathtub with water, he suddenly slipped and his head hit the wash basin hard. He passed out. At the sight of this, his wife, Lisa, was filled with panic. At that moment, the faucet was still running non-stop. However, she was completely paralyzed and couldn't move. If things went on like this, it wouldn't be long before she was drowned alive. Seeing the water level steadily rising, Lisa desperately tried to move her right foot, which had only a faint sense of feeling, in an attempt to open the drain valve at the bottom of the bathtub. As the rising water level was about to submerge her mouth and nose, Lisa quickly concentrated all her strength on her right foot. But after several attempts, not only did she fail to open the valve, but she also broke the iron chain connected to the top. Lisa was completely desperate. Watching the faucet keep filling the bathtub with water, and with the water level already submerging her mouth and nose, in order to save herself, she quickly focused her strength on her left hand and managed to reach the shower head beside her bit by bit. She tried to control the faucet switch by moving the position of the shower head, but this method was obviously too slow. Before she could move the shower head to an adequate position, the water level had completely covered her head. Just when she thought she was about to drown, in this critical moment, she suddenly exerted a great deal of strength. Although she managed to turn the faucet switch and slow down the filling speed, the still rising water level meant she was still in life-threatening danger. At this time, Lisa relaxed her body, trying to let her right foot slowly float up naturally. Then, with a sudden burst of strength, she kicked open the drain at the bottom of the bathtub. As the water in the bathtub gradually drained out, Lisa's head finally emerged from the water. She had narrowly escaped death. But then, to her great surprise, she found that the near-death experience had actually given her body a sense of feeling. She could move just like a normal person. Subsequently, Lisa quickly placed her hands on the edge of the bathtub, wanting to check on her unconscious husband's condition. However, strangely enough, the husband who had just been lying unconscious on the ground had now disappeared without a trace. Looking at the bloodstains all over the floor, Lisa was instantly plunged into deep despair. She couldn't understand why her husband, who clearly hadn't been unconscious, had just watched her almost drown to death. Realizing that her husband was very likely trying to murder her, Lisa quickly used all her strength to climb out of the bathtub. But because her body hadn't fully recovered yet, she fell heavily to the ground again. Then Lisa struggled to her feet and rushed to the telephone. She picked up the phone and was about to call the police. But unexpectedly at that moment, a dark shadow suddenly flashed outside the door crack. Remembering that her best friend had said a few days ago that her husband was having an affair, an ominous premonition immediately welled up in her heart. Could it be that her husband really was trying to murder her on purpose? In order to prevent her husband's sinister plan from succeeding, Lisa quickly picked up a piece of broken glass for self-defense and was about to go outside to see what her husband was up to. But as soon as she stepped out, she found that the so-called dark shadow was just the curtain being blown by the wind. Even so, Lisa didn't dare to relax for a moment. Holding the piece of glass, she slowly moved outside, fearing that her husband would suddenly rush out and launch a surprise attack. Due to copyright restrictions, it can only be shown up to here. Thank you for watching.